So I am massively excited today because I've got my very first guest speaker on the show for us. It's something that, I was hoping to do a little further on down the line. However, the opportunity arose and I thought, I'm having that, I'm grabbing it. And I'm going to feature this person on the podcast for you guys to listen to because she's just absolutely amazing. And I didn't want to pass up the opportunity. I hope you enjoy it. When I started this podcast, one of the things that was just most important to me to make sure that I did was just to keep it as real as possible. So the majority of women out there can relate to it. I'm listening to loads of podcasts at the moment and they're all run by really successful female entrepreneurs. They have guests on that are equally as successful. They've started from nothing, but now they're earning a lot of money, which is all great and inspirational and wonderful. However, I wanted to keep mine a little bit more real and I wanted to appeal more to women who are just normal. We've got normal lives, we've got families, we're not looking to be millionaires yet, but, we're here and we want to make a living. And that's what I wanted to keep it, as real as possible, just so that when they listen to it, you can say, oh God, yeah, that's me, or totally get that. That's exactly how I feel. We're just generally able to resonate with the things that we talk about on here. And that goes for the kind of people that I talk to as well. So, when I'm looking at guest speakers and the people that I want to come on and talk to us, I just didn't want to be one of those podcasters that just only speaks to the massively successful people. Those that they are earning seven figures because they've invented something that took the world by storm, and they've been really lucky and everything's taken off for them and now they're millionaires. One day I might have some of those women on there too. You never know, they might ask to be a guest on my little podcast, but maybe, probably not. But, until then, you know what I mean. I just want this podcast to be about real women, for real women. Us knackered mothers, trying to do it all on limited sleep. And just women who are listening and dealing with their own life battles and your own demons, whatever they may be. I want you to be able to come here and know that you can still achieve your dream because other women in similar situations have gone through the same sorts of feelings and fears and challenges. They've done it. They've done it and they're here to tell you how they did it. I found that it's just equally important as listening to the massively successful people. So, yeah, I think, a lot of us, when we're starting our own business, we have insecurities, lacking in confidence, self-belief. We just need a little nudge or a huge push in some cases. I'm good at doing that. Just to give you a boost that you need. Or perhaps there's women listening who are just done with putting everyone else first. Because let's face it, that is what we're programmed to do as women. And instead, we want to start next year for us doing what we want to do. It's our time now to live our dreams and make some money, doing something that we love. And there's nothing wrong with feeling like that. That is something that we are entitled to feel. This is our life. We get one chance at it. So we are 100% more than able to do it and entitled to do it as well. Some women may come here, because they want to listen to other women with, fears that genuinely terrify them. Am I good enough? How do I make this into a viable business that is going to pay my mortgage? Will people even buy my product or my service? And will my kids or my partner think that I'm going through a midlife crisis or something? Or am I going through a midlife crisis? Should I just give up on a dream and just go and work in Tesco full time because it's safe and it's secure and that's all that I'm capable of? I want that security. Maybe you do. But I think if you felt like that, you wouldn't be listening to me right now. But these are the kind of real conversations that I want to be having on here. With real women who have worked their backside off to do something on their own, that don't quit. You keep going because I believe that you can do anything if you keep going. And I think the difference between success and failure is that, everyone is on the same road, but the people who are successful just stay on that road longer than those who fail because you will always get there in the end. You just have to keep going. So the women that I want to feature are the ones that, despite all the challenges that life throws at them, and all the adversity that they may have faced, they have shown that it is possible. So with that in mind, today's podcast episode features the very first guest speaker, as I said, who happens to be one of the most authentic women that I know. Now, she's as real and as down to earth as you're going to get, trust me. And, despite her exotic name, she's actually a born and bred Yorkshire lass. Maria Klymczuk is her name, and she's a female entrepreneur who, she's had a fair share of life's challenges, shall we say, which I'm sure she will enlighten you with in this podcast episode. But she's lived to tell the tale, thank God. Now, Maria ran a hugely successful cafe in the village where I lived for 14 years ago now. And it was actually, it was below the flat that I lived in when I first started Vintage Tweed, my little bachelorette pad, when I moved out of my parents' house. And she also lived in the adjoining property to the cafe. So we were actually next door neighbours. Although we didn't really become friends until I moved out, which was weird. So I was there for about 3 years, I think. And during that time, we'd say hi, I'd pop in, we'd see her. She had this little balcony at the back. We'd give each other a wave, but we never really saw each other loads until I moved out, which was very strange. But anyway, so she ran this cafe called Christie's, which was like the most popular go-to eatery for everyone in the area, particularly the builders. And I always think you can tell a good cafe by the amount of tradesmen queuing out the door to get a decent bacon barm. Do you know what I mean? You always go past a cafe and you think, oh, that must be good. There's a lot of builders queuing for a sandwich or. Anyway, yeah, she just did some really good food. Service was fantastic. Everybody wanted to come in and speak to her. And she made a massive success out of the business because she put heart and soul into it. She used to be baking at midnight after a full day in the shop, just so she had fresh cakes ready for the next day. She worked hard, like really hard. And the thing that I love most about Maria is just her work ethic. She's not afraid of getting stuck in. She's helped me numerous times, including last week, actually, when I was drowning in these Santa letters for work. I can always call her up and I can say, I can't cope, and she'll come over. She'll drop everything in a heartbeat. She's amazing. And she's practical. She's always got an answer for me. If I'm stuck on anything, I can text her and she will help me. She's creative. She's inspiring. I always have this joke that she should be like my PA or my marketing expert. She's just so good, so good. Honestly, you will get such a good feeling when you listen to this woman talk. If anyone listened to my last podcast, I don't know if you heard it, but I was talking about two different types of people. We're talking about drains and radiators. So drains are the people that really soak every last bit of energy out of you and leave you feeling completely drained and uninspired. Well, radiators are the total opposite. That's Maria. She emits this warmth that just pulls you in, and she just makes you feel safe and secure and gives you a real good feeling that, you're capable of doing anything. And she's one of those people that you just want to be around. And she's a true supporter of other women's success. She is. She's one of these people that will cheer you on and help you in any way she can, because she's been there and she's done it. She's done it for a long time. She doesn't have the cafe anymore, but she did it for a long time, and she will tell you her story. She's also a mother, a grandmother. She's a warrior. She's a true warrior. She's fought breast cancer, and a really aggressive form of breast cancer, many years ago, and she survived. She's also one of my very, very best friends who has just supported me through everything, including starting my business, learning to live alone in my little bachelorette pad, someone to talk to, a great neighbour. She supported me through a string of bad boyfriends and bad dates. Oh God, that's a whole different podcast. Maybe I should get her back for that one. And then also, my mum's illness, the whole grief journey, which just never ends. She's always there for me at the end of the phone. When I got pregnant, she's there through COVID. When I was a terrified new mother with a 6-month-old, when COVID was all going on, you name it, she shows up. I remember she was the one person when we were allowed to meet somebody outside of our household, and she was the one person that I chose to meet in the park. you know, we'd have a walk together. I had this like 9-month-old, I think Eden was at the time. And yeah, it was just so overwhelming. And she used to meet me in the park for a walk around, pass a bit of time, give me some advice, you know, something that I would have asked my mum for had she been here. And she was just a true lifeline to me, and she still is now. So, you know, she doesn't have the cafe anymore, like I said, and she actually lives part of the year in France now. And she's back for Christmas, hooray! So she's happily agreed to be my first guest speaker. And she's going to share with you now her story on starting a business, you know, what she learned from it and what wisdom she can impart to help you on your journey as a female entrepreneur. So get comfy, you're not going to want to miss this, and I really hope you enjoy listening to Maria's story, and I hope you feel inspired and motivated once you finish listening, because I know that I'm going to enjoy it. Here she is. Right, how's that for an introduction? So before we get started, I just have to tell everybody about the moment that I knew that you were always going to show up for me. Do you remember that moment?
I do remember. Hi everybody, my name's Maria. We like Joanne said, we weren't really friends when I had the coffee shop. Really, because I was so busy. I didn't have time to chit chat with the girl next door. She had plenty of other people to chit chat to. I was just glued to the coffee shop. Believe me, 6 days a week. We did work hard. But as you'll be aware, it's so worth at the end. I mean, it's all very, very bit daunting at first, but believe me, it's worth at the end. But I mean, you know, we didn't really chit chat very much because we'd wave. I wasn't rude and ignore her. I just waved to her and I went, hi. Sorry, gotta go. Yeah. You know, because I had a queue out the door.
Absolutely.
So I thought I gave her a job washing up, so it was her choice, and she soon disappeared when I said, oh yeah, I'm really busy, do you want to
pot washer?
Exactly, so she soon disappeared.
She did, yeah, I just thought a wave will do. Well, I thought, like, I have to tell people about when we first met, and the first time that I knew that you actually would truly be there for me, no matter what, the time that, you know, you really were always going to show up, and you know what I'm going to say, don't you, which time it was.
Certainly do.
And I decided from this time, which I will tell you about quickly, is Maria is now going to be down as my in case of emergency person, because my husband never answers his phone ever when there's an emergency. But from this one incident,
men don't answer the phone.
They don't.
They don't look at the phone. I have no idea. I've got my phone on.
Me too.
It bleeps. I've got to look at it. Who is it? You know? Well, you never know. Joanne might call me. The kids might call me.
Yeah, Joanne might be, as you'll see what happened to me in a moment. So we're in my old apartment, which obviously we live next door. We're neighbours, and I lived alone. And my entire kitchen cupboard fell off the wall this particular day, wasn't it?
It was hilarious.
It came crashing down to the floor. I was actually out. I think I was at the pub with my parents.
Yeah, I think she was actually. So I was working really hard in the coffee shop, you know, busting her gut, and she was out in the pub. Great. Didn't get an invite, but hey, we weren't speaking, obviously, she said. So I was in the coffee shop. Busy coffee shop, was full, almighty crash. Thought she'd like fallen down the stairs. There was a break-in, so I literally left everything. We ran up, so John, my partner, was around, which thankfully was. We ran upstairs, just couldn't hear her shouting through the letterbox. Joanne, I had visions of her collapsed behind the door. You know, maybe she'd had a few too many wines. Oh, there was like lunchtime.
That's been known.
Couldn't find. I thought, what's happened? Anyway, realised the cupboard on the floor, everything smashed.
All my pots I ever owned.
Oh, it was just
everything I owned was like, as a woman living on her own. I remember I went to Dunham Mill and I bought all this stuff, and it was all on the floor, just completely smashed. Yeah, and I remember John got his ladders out, didn't he? And he was looking through the kitchen window to see if that was all right. Oh my God,
she's decent. You know.
You never know. And I mean, luckily I was out, because I think, you know, it could have been a different story. But I remember coming home and opening the front door and just seeing this trail of glass and ceramic like leading out from the hallway from the kitchen. They'd all just exploded on impact, and I thought I'd been robbed.
I think I sent John up to help. I didn't have time to help her, but I sent John to help her to clear up the mess. But thankfully, she was fine. Everybody was fine.
Everyone was fine. I wasn't unconscious under a pile of rubble. It's all good, and you know, it was obviously a good idea to go to the pub.
So it brought the ice. It did. I think we did.
It brought the ice.
It brought the ice. It did.
So that's when I knew you were a keeper.
Exactly.
Well, this is a good one. I'm going to hang on to this one for life. But that's just one of the many highlights from our friendship, which I'm sure we'll touch on more as we talk about you and your experiences as a female entrepreneur. I'm dying to know more, as I'm sure everybody else is as well. And I'm positive that there's so much that you're going to learn from Maria, because she's done this a long time. as I said in my introduction, you know, she knows what she's talking about. So get your notepads out, make some notes, because she's a mine of information, as I like to call her.
Well,
Fountain of knowledge.
I've done it for quite a few years now. So I'm a hospitality entrepreneur, as you already have gathered. My ambition in life was always to have a coffee shop, deli, coffee shop, something to do with cooking, catering. Didn't really have an idea what I wanted to do. I mean, we even looked at, John and I, my partner, we just looked at fish and chip shops. We looked at little restaurants, little Italian restaurant, and I thought, not sure about this. This is going to be a little bit out of my depth. Because I was already working in education. I was a special needs teacher, so it was a different direction completely. But I'd always had this eager. Everybody knew I always wanted to have a coffee shop. We looked at quite a few different places. Couldn't find the right one, so sat back. Didn't rush into it. We looked for quite a while, to be fair. And then, lo and behold, this little place came up just down not very far away, a mile from where we were living. Beautiful little village. So pretty. It's just amazing. It's got a river. Joanne will tell you, I'm sure.
Loved it there.
Beautiful river. Just a few shops. Beautiful bridge. Great little pubs as well.
Nice community,
antique, great community. You know, just a couple of antique shops, hairdressers. But the key thing is, it did not have a tea room. It did have a tea room, but it wasn't. It was pretty dull. It was called Greys. I mean, to me, that's a bit of a dull colour anyway. I mean, you know.
That's the title of it. That's its name.
That was the name of the coffee. And I thought, I've been here so long, I've never noticed this coffee shop before. I've never been in, which to me said, they're not doing something right here. Why is that? Why? Being a coffee shop freak, as Joanne will probably tell you,
coffee.
We love our coffee, chit chats.
Yeah.
I've never been in this coffee shop, never even spotted it, and it came up for sale, and I thought, this could be a good one. So we arranged to go and see this little cafe, and beautiful little cafe. And the beauty about the cafe was it was right in the middle of the street. It wasn't on the end. It was right in the middle. And it had a fantastic 4-bedroom apartment upstairs, so we could actually live above, which maybe became a bit of a shock to the family because they were expecting to be uprooted and move lock, stock and barrel. We ummed and ahed, John and I, we talked about it. He knew this was my desire, and he's always been supportive in everything that I've done, and more so this time as well because I've been so poorly, and he helped me throughout all that, which you know is a big thing for a partner to go through. And he was there all the step of the way, and even on this path he was there as well. And he encouraged me, said, you know what, Maria, do you want it? And I thought, oh yeah. So we went for it. And that's how that's the start, really.
What a brave thing to do, though. Like what were you doing before that?
Well, I was an educator, so I was a special needs teacher,
so you had a job at that point.
I was working at schools. Really, as the children were young, I was able to school holidays just because I was there for them, and I loved the job, loved it, working in 2 different schools in the town that we were living. But that was one of my fears. Not fear's a funny word, but it's one of the I was and ahhing. Do I not? But I'm so glad I did, because although working with the special needs was fantastic and I loved the job, I just needed another direction, and it was something I'd always wanted to do as well.
And how old were you then?
Now then, I was probably late 30s.
Late 30s,
yeah.
Right. So it is.
I fell ill on 40. No, it was early 40s. To be fair, yeah. I fell ill just before I was having chemo on my 40th birthday, which is big pants. But this is what I mean. Yeah. You know, you desire, if you want to do something, which is what I wanted to do.
That was your wake up, wasn't it?
Absolutely, it was my wake up call. It was just, and John said, you know what, let's do it.
Yeah,
and we did. So we sold up at the house, and we moved into this cafe with this beautiful apartment upstairs, which John renovated as well. Which,
it's so good, isn't it?
Yeah, but yeah, I could see the potential of the coffee shop. It was, it was pretty dire when we took it on. It wasn't doing anything. It closed at 3. Which coffee shop closed at?
You need to catch the mothers after school, don't you?
So it closed at 3, and all the mums and tots were going home.
Yeah,
they could have. This is your ideal market. This is the ones that would stop. I did that when my children were little.
Of course you do. You've got to pass that time.
Exactly.
When you pick them up from school, how to pass an hour.
From school, you go in for a hot chocolate or a coffee. You meet your friends. This is 3 till 6 is the ideal.
Yes.
That was when it really is.
Was that your busiest time? Well,
12 till, well, actually, no, to be fair. It was busy from 7:30.
yeah,
It was busy. It wasn't at first, but it was. It was busy from half. I mean, it was funny because when the first morning I took it on, because I took the girl on that was working there, Laura, and I was waiting for the bread delivery, and she said, yeah, we get bread delivered every morning, because I had this vision of, a bit like Subway, I wanted to be better. I wanted to be better than all the others. I wanted freshly made sandwiches. This is what, because I always think, whatever I would like, this is what I want to give to the person as well. It's like when I cook a food, a dish. If I don't eat it, I don't like the look of it, I'm not going to serve it to anybody else. So I wanted a sandwich that was going to be freshly made on the spot. So I was waiting for the bread delivery this morning, and we waited. Anyway, this guy came and just brought me 6 baps and I think it was a cob. Like a cob is like a round bread thing. And I said to Laura, what time does the bread come? She said, that's it. And I said, what, 6 muffins?
I remember this.
And she said, yeah, that's all we get. I said, every single day? She said, yeah, that's all we get every single day. And I thought, no, surely not. Oh. So I rang the bakery and I said, what do you have? And he said, well, we've got lots, Maria. He says, what do you want? I said, I'll have 8 of every single different style of bap that you do. I'll have 10 packets of bread. I'll have French stick. Just give me whatever, He said, are you sure? And I went, yeah, I'm positive.
I'm going to sell this.
So the next day, and he had a key to get into the coffee shop, so I could hear the bread. I was awake all night, obviously, thinking, oh my God, it's my first full day. I need to be on this. I need to be. And I heard him come, and he spent ages, and I thought, oh my God, I've bought the whole bakery out. And I went down. It took me ages to put the bread out. And when she arrived for work, she looked, she says, oh, it's just going to get wasted. We don't. And you know what? I sold every single bag that day. It was just incredible. And she just looked in awe of me. And she said, I would not have believed it. And we did we did every single sandwich you could think of. And they flew out.
And how did you sell them? What do you think was the...
I think...
In fact, you had selection.
Well, we changed the name of the shop. So it was Christie's, which is John's partner. Because I thought Klymczuk's or Maria sounded a bit like a pizza. Maria's Cafe. It sounded a bit like a pizza place, and I thought,
You've got Italian roots, though.
I know I have. Yeah. By the way, guys, I'm half Italian, half Ukrainian, so I didn't want to think they would come to a pizzeria or a panini shop. Although we did do paninis, I didn't want them to think it was going to be a pizzeria. Yeah. So I thought Christie's had a nice ring to it.
Yeah.
Christie's just sounded really, it just sounded lovely. And John, bless him, had painted the shop dark green, racing green, because he used to race cars. So
is that why?
He quite liked racing green and gold. Honestly, he could have had a painting job. It was there for weeks, and this guy said, "Can you come and do my hair?" No, I don't do it as a full-time job. I'm just doing it for. This is our shop. It was called Christmas. It was in gold, and I even splashed out on gold leaf. I was that determined for this to succeed. It wasn't cheap, but it was worth it because it stood out. Yeah. So the Christie's was it was on the top of the shop, and it was painted in gold leaf. I've got a guy, just a local.
I never knew that.
I use local guys. It was a local guy, literally in Romilly, which is like 10 minutes down the road. And he did it in gold leaf for me. I've still got the sign now. It's in your garage, Joanne.
Is it?
It's in your garage. Oh. It might be worth a bit, so I'd probably best not tell her. She could start on eBay and get a few. She probably could get a few thousand for it.
Could be
it's on gold leaf.
Because you used to have it. They had when you moved house, a bar in the garden, didn't you?
We did,
and they had it up in there as well.
Yeah, we did. It was our second house. With John had. Honestly, you couldn't make it up really. Yeah, I was poorly one week with flu, and we had no kitchen. But John had built a bar. Can you believe it? I thought, great, John, we've got no kitchen, but you built a bar.
But that's where we used to go for our coffees and our chats.
But the Christie shop, the Christie sign was in the bar, wasn't it? Anyway, it was painted in gold leaf, and it's in your garage.
So that was the opening day when you got all them baps in and all them bars.
Because the first day was just getting a feel. It was the second day.
And they all sold.
Absolutely all. And from then on, and I think everybody'd realised I was open at 7:30. Exactly. Lights on. I was down there, and I did the breakfast for, like Joanne said, the builders, stopping. And I think it was just word. Everybody found out about it. Have you seen this new place in Marple Bridge and blah blah blah. So that's how it started, really. And then, so it was a breakfast till 12, and then I'd do lunches. Completely different mindset. So you're doing the lunch, breakfast, then you do the lunches, and then you do the afternoon tea stuff. So you've got I split my day into 3 sections. the breakfast section till 12 or 1, 1 till 3 is your lunch section, and then 3 till 6 is, because you can't cook all day.
No,
it's just because it was just me on my own in the kitchen.
So were you the main chef then?
Completely.
You were doing everything on your own?
Absolutely everything.
Wow.
The hiring, the firing, the cooking, the cleaning, you name it.
What about all the staff?
So I had one. So when I took it on, this is how slow it was. It was me and this one other girl, and that was it. And I thought, I can't do this on my own with one other. Anyway, she left. I think she found it too busy. So I thought, great, she's not a keeper. So she left, which was a relief to me, because it's difficult to actually, it's difficult to get rid of staff when you're already you have to take them on, which was fine, and I was quite keen to do that. But she decided it wasn't for her. So she left, and then I just took on. So during the week I had 3 staff and me in the kitchen. Saturdays I had 5 staff, 2 in the kitchen. Some days it was more, depending on what was going on. So there was me as the main chef, and then I had one other on a Saturday. But during the week it was generally just me, and the girls were just great. They'd come in and help. So
they were on the till.
They were on the till serving. Yeah. So the till girls making the sandwiches and serving. And then I had to increase the staff, because obviously as it got busier, so it was a 50-seater cafe as well, so it wasn't just a couple of tables.
No, it was a big place.
And then John converted the outside garden, so we had a secret garden as well.
I loved that at the back.
And people were queuing for the seat. There's like 2 tables, and I said, guys, you can sit in, but no, they want to sit in the secret garden,
which was I could see them from my back door, because my back door backed onto the garden, didn't it?
We didn't want riffraff out there, because John was like working. It was.
But have a decent crowd, Luckily where we lived was a nice area, wasn't it, as well? So how long do you think it took you from starting the business to being, like sort of fully fledged, able to be confident that this was going to work?
It took a while, Joanne. I'm not going to lie. It wasn't an overnight. You have to build on your reputation, your goods. The secret of doing it is to knowing what your customer wants. You have to talk to them, because if you don't know what they want, you're not going to hit the brief, and you've got to. If you don't hit the brief, they're not going to want to come in. If they knew I didn't do anything, like for the children, they're not going to come in. If you're just going to, we bought an expensive coffee machine. There was a tiny one in there. It didn't do enough coffees. So ladies want the cappuccinos. It was just normal coffee.
Yeah.
Ladies don't want that now. You want a good choice. If you go into a town, the choice is just immense. You're looking, thinking, what's a macchiato?
Yeah, what is that? Exactly.
Being Italian, I know what that is, but you can, the frappuccino, the macchiato. There's so many different coffees out there.
You've got to keep up with it, haven't you?
And that's the other thing. You've got to be one step ahead as well. So you've got to know what your customer wants. And what I did was, in the first few weeks, I put a questionnaire on the counter, just for feedback. Do you like what I'm doing? Do you want me to do anything else? Is there anything you'd like me to put on the menu? There was some, saying, some of them said, you should open on a Sunday. Well, I like a day off as well, I'm not
going to do 7 days in a row. God, I do 6. My blood.
I do 6 days, 12 days, 12 hours a day. Maybe not.
What other kind of feedback did you have? Good
just
or bad?
Different, just can we do things more for the kids? Can we have paninis? Can we have toasted sandwiches? Just things like, basically things that you could do. There wasn't anything like I couldn't cope with.
No.
I just wanted to know what they wanted. And
that's brilliant. That is the key, isn't it? It's knowing what your customer wants. And that goes for whatever industry you're in as well. So whether you are making handmade products or you run a coffee shop, or you provide a service, you have to know what that person wants.
You've got to talk to people.
You've got to talk.
John was great, because it was funny, because he had a really stressful job. He was working out and away and working in Manchester. But on a Saturday, he used to come down and give me a hand. And the really annoying bit is, they thought I was just a worker in the kitchen, and he was the boss. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute, guys.
Absolutely.
This is my coffee shop.
Yes.
Even though it had his name over the door.
Yeah.
But he was great. He'd come down. I'd say, John, will you come down? The washing up's piled up a little bit. But he'd go down from table to table. But this is what it needed. You needed people to go see your customer, meet them, find out who they are, because they're the ones that are going to come back.
They are.
They're the ones, especially in the village that we lived in, Joanne. It was people that would come back.
You needed the community. You needed returning customers to keep you going.
And I think also they liked the fact that it was a family-run little place as well.
Definitely.
John was involved. He'd come down, chat to people, help on the washing up, take things out. Our daughter Samantha bless her, she worked really hard as well. I'll tell you a funny story about Savannah. She was part of the business as well. Jonathan did a bit of washing up, got fed up, did a few weeks. Boys for you. Oh, yeah. He wanted a pay increase on the first day, and I just glared at him, and he realised, no, that's not going to work.
I'll get another job.
Exactly. I'll get one that, you know, might pay a bit more than mum does. But yeah, you know, if you can, employ the children, because this is, you know,
make it a family affair, because
this is
people
what
love
people
that.
like.
They do.
If you think of a family business, people think that, you know,
they want to support
gives that feel, a nice warmly feeling that the whole family involved.
Definitely. And when they come in, it's like they know you then.
Exactly.
And people, as I was saying to the ladies previously on the podcast and on my Facebook group, that people want to buy from people that they know and that they like.
Exactly.
And, you know, you introducing your family members, being in there. On my last podcast, I talked about my grandma who had a corner shop. And when I was little, me and my sister used to go in and she'd let us serve on the till, you know, we'd serve the deli meats.
It's nice,
and,
isn't it?
Oh, it was amazing. And I always remember it. I just feel so important. But customers would come in because they knew that, oh, Phyllis was there, she had a granddaughter's working for her on a Sunday. And it was brilliant. And I guess with anything, no matter what sort of line of work you're in, if you can show that, like, there's the humanity to it and the family side that people are going to buy into, because they want to buy from someone they like.
Exactly. It's got to be that. And the village that we lived in as well is a really family community. Like, it's part, you've got to be part of the community. That's the other thing as well.
You do.
When you start a business. And also competition is good. Don't be fearful if you've got somebody doing exactly what you're doing just down the road, because you know that you can do it bigger and better than they. You need to find out what they're doing. Go look at their products if you can. Buy their products, taste their products. I always think competition is healthy. Although when I had the coffee shop, there was just me, and I built it up. And it was a great success. But then I did get competition, and it keeps you on your toes. Yeah, you're not blasé. You don't step back thinking, oh, you know, there's only me. You know, I can do what, you know, a little bit less. But you've got to be on top of it to be successful. You have to see what they're doing, and you know you're going to be better than them.
And know that you've got that history as well, and you've got that established customer base. People obviously know and love you, and not be afraid, like you say, of new people, new competitors, because that is a big worry of female entrepreneurs. It is of me as well. I see things popping up all the time, you know, people copying, and, you know, it's a big thing. But you have to be confident in the fact that you were there first, and your product and your service, because everyone is different. And we were talking about imposter syndrome as well in a couple of episodes ago, and we were saying how women can feel quite intimidated, like they're not able or deserving to do this and to run a business. But actually, you know, we're more than capable, probably more capable than men, dare I say it. But, you know, we are, but we just get overlooked a lot, and we're determined and we work hard. And that's what a lot of women who are listening to this will feel as well, that they just need to hear from somebody that has done it and has proven that you can do it and make it a success. And, you know, you touched before, which I thought was really interesting, on the fact that when John used to come and work with you on a Saturday, that people would assume that he was the boss.
He was. Now,
this is a massive challenge for female entrepreneurs all the time, isn't it? But
the thing is, he never told him that he wasn't. Do you know what I mean? This is really annoying. I mean, it was a family, but it was our shop, but I'm the one that was grafting in the kitchen.
Yeah, you were behind the scenes.
They probably just thought they employed me. You know, and I was somebody, especially with a name like Maria Klymczuk. They probably just, you know,
just employed you to work on a Saturday.
Exactly.
Saturday girl.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's a big problem, isn't it? You know, it's like always having to find our place and say, no, actually, I own this business, you know, and this is my baby. And
but it was definitely a family. It was definitely a really family orientated business. You know, like I said, I employed our daughter Samantha when she was 16, and bless her, because she only had a flight of stairs to come down. So the Saturday girls, and Saturday was an absolute, from 7:30 till 6:30, it was full on. It was so, I mean, you do it. It was just, it was mad. 50 seat queuing to get a table, queuing for takeouts. So Sam came and worked for me, and she's only got a flight of stairs to walk down, but she'd be 5 minutes late, then it progressed to 10 minutes late, then it got to 15 minutes late. The rest of the girls there, ready, pinnies on, working hard, full coffee shop. Sam would toddle down, morning, put a pinny on as if nothing, you know, this happened. I thought, okay. And I thought, yeah, okay, the girls are thinking, oh, you know, Samantha starts at 9:30. So this went on. So I said to Samantha, maybe you could start at 9. Your day's 9 till 6, Sam. Oh, yeah. So she said she promised she would. Didn't happen. Got worse. I mean, got to a stage where it was 9:30, she was coming down. bearing in mind she didn't even have to go very far. So I said to her, well, I'm sorry, Samantha, but I'm going to have to let you go because I need staff that are really, great determination and want to.
Dedicated, yeah.
And she thought, you can't. No, I can't, Samantha. I need to find somebody else. And do you know what? She was there 9 o'clock on the door because she thought, oh well, it's mum's business. I can just toddle up whenever I want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, Samantha. If the girls can get there for 9, you can get there for 9.
She's hardly got a commute.
Exactly. I didn't treat her any different from the girls because I thought, it's not a good start.
Yeah.
You've got to. But yeah.
And that's the point actually. How did you manage like these difficult decisions with staff? Because obviously not everyone listening will have staff yet. Maybe it'll happen at one point, but it appeals to managing difficult situations. No matter what, you're going to get confrontation in business, aren't you? You're going to get it, whether it's with customers, whether it's with staff. But how did you deal with that? Like when it came to having to make these sort of boss moves, I
think you just have to treat the girls with respect and just listen out as well, because don't forget I had 16, 17-year-olds, so they were young girls. This is their first Saturday job. They were girls from college. The girls during the week were much more mature. Obviously the young girls, because they were at college or university and things, so they were young girls. So this is why John and I were keeping an eye. We have to keep a special eye on them because they're the young ones, and I don't want a customer shouting at the girls, because
we looked after them.
Exactly, we looked after them. We took them out for parties. Went out for. It was great. We had a really good family.
I bet you did. I bet
it was good. I mean, the girls during the week were great as well. So but they could hold their own because they were, they'd had other jobs.
Yeah.
So they'd been, and they were friends and.
And a lot of when you're young at that age as well, it shapes your first job. Shapes you.
Of course it does.
I remember mine was WH Smith, and I had a horrible experience there, but I also had a good experience in a different department. But I remember thinking, I will never forget that job. No. And they don't. So those girls now, how old they may be,
and they're still great friends now, and their mums are still great friends as well. Yeah. So you have your slow days and you have your good days, but don't let the slow days grind you down. We all have. I mean, even though I was successful in the shop. I had a slow day. Monday was quite a slow day for me. Slower than normal, but then I wouldn't say it was completely, that we didn't have anything to do. Because don't forget, with catering, there's always something to do. You've always got cakes to bake. You've always got this to do. And just keep yourself busy. Don't sit back and think, oh no, I've not sold anything.
Yeah,
the phone's not ringing. It's it's not working. It's not like that. You have your good days. Just forget the bad days. Slow days, forget them, and just work hard, keep on doing what you're doing, and you get the good days that follow. And then you think, oh, this is not bad actually. I'm busy. You've got, you're
That's
not
really
going to be
good
busy all the time. You just let it, just put it back behind you. You've got your business and you've got things to do. Just keep focused.
Yeah, take those moments to focus on developing your business.
Exactly.
So probably after Christmas, a lot of people, if they have already got the business, they'll be slow, depending on what industry you're in. I know with weddings and stuff, it starts to pick up about March for me.
But that's when you do your research, Joanne,
exactly.
Isn't it? You start thinking, okay, it's slow. What can I do different? Right. What can I do for the next few months? This is when you've got time. This is when I sat down, changed the menu, incorporated different types of foods on the menu because I had time to do it. Otherwise,
changed it up, kept it all fresh.
Absolutely.
Kept it fresh every time. And that's probably why you're a success.
Yeah, you have to be one step ahead. Don't be blasé and sit on your laurels, even though you're doing really busy, because you've got to think other people will be looking at your business too. Even though you're looking at them, they're looking at you, and you don't know if that customer's come in to see what you're doing.
And mystery shoppers.
Exactly.
I wonder if you ever got any of those.
Oh, I probably did.
Do you reckon? It was never me, I promise. I never was a mystery shopper.
I think everybody does.
Yeah, I do.
If there's a new coffee shop that's open or a new shop, you go in because you're intrigued. You want to know what's going on.
You do. And, I was going to ask you, did you ever get any bad reviews or feedback? Now we live in a world where everything is online and you can see what anyone is saying about you, and it frightens a lot of women starting a business because they think, oh God, what if I do it wrong? People are going to slate me online, and it puts them off and they don't ever do it. But did you get any bad feedback, and how did you deal with it?
Okay, so when I was having the coffee shop, luckily we didn't have TripAdvisor. It wasn't a thing. So I mean, nowadays everybody goes on TripAdvisor or they will comment. But when I had the shop, it was in 2004, TripAdvisor wasn't a thing. People didn't. They would just come and tell me.
Tell you to your face.
Yeah, rather than which I can handle it because I'm a Yorkshire girl and I'm true grit. And I've got my mum's Italian determination in my blood because she's she's a 93-year-old and she's a fiery woman. And I think I've got a bit of my mum. My dad was very, very laid back, not like him at all. So, but I think with business you have to be a little bit tough as well. A bit
thick-skinned,
exactly. And just take the bad, just take it and just forget about it. But we one or two people come in and say, didn't like that, it was a bit burnt, blah, blah, blah. And you just say, I'm really sorry, come in and come in and bring the family in, again. And,
Did you offer them like
Yeah, absolutely. You'd offer them come in and have a coffee on us or come and have a lunch on us. To be honest, Joanne, it hardly ever happened.
Yeah.
The only one time, in fact, I don't think it ever happened. I think the only one time that I had a little bit of a ooh-ah was on a Saturday. It was a full coffee shop. Luckily, John was around and the girls were working and they worked their socks off. This guy ordered a toasted tea, not even a full
tea cake
name.
story. I love this one.
The tea cake story. Even Joanne knows the tea cake story. So the tea cake story. I mean, a tea cake's a tea cake.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's a few pounds.
Yeah.
Nothing big in the scheme of things. You know what I mean?
No, it's not
people
a
were
three-course
spending a lot
meal,
of money
is it?
there. They were doing because I was doing 5 or 6 breakfasts, and the whole family, 8 of them were having full breakfast and drinks and puddings, and I mean mega, on a
hard
Saturday.
work,
So this guy came in, and I knew of him, and he ordered a toasted tea cake. The girl had made it. Wasn't the right shade. Took it back. Another one came out. Still not the right shade. The poor waitress, it was the same waitress that was serving him because they have delegated tables. This is how it worked. The girls worked on certain tables, and this is how we knew that everybody would be served by the same person.
Good. Yeah.
Otherwise, likely to forget on a busy day. I think at the 4th attempt, I got to a stage where it's a tea cake. At the end of the day, I had 10 checks on, and he was bothered about the colour. And I said to John, I'm sorry, if I go, my Italian blood will boil over. And
you're telling what you think of it.
Exactly.
I wonder if you had like a tea cake chart.
I've no idea.
Matching the shade up.
But
this
is what we said to it. I said, John, just go out and just say, we don't have a tea cake of different shades of brown, a tea cake chart. Can you just go to... So John went out, and John being John, very calm, collected, just never raises his voice. Sarcastic, very sarcastic. Went up to him, sorry, sir, but maybe this is not your day for a tea cake. We don't have the right shade today, so maybe you could try somewhere else.
Is that what he said?
And he just said, yeah, maybe it's not my day, and just left. I mean, at the end of the day,
Brilliant.
it's a tea cake.
It's a tea cake. It's one customer.
But the thing is that
you're never going to please.
Exactly. And it upset the waitress, Natalie, bless her. And I said, you know what, Natalie, it's not your fault. No. It wasn't his day.
And this is a perfect example of when you get a difficult customer, how you just cannot please everybody.
You can't please everybody. You're going to get people who are going to complain. But
of course you are. It's how you handle it, isn't it? And you've obviously tried to accommodate him 4 times.
Different tea cake. I mean...
Was it a different tea cake every time?
No, no. It just wasn't the right shade, Joanne. And I thought, really? Maybe go to the cafe in the next town. Maybe they can provide the tea cake of the right shade.
Or just go to Greg's and buy your own.
Exactly.
Exactly. Some people do like to have them.
So the moral of the story is, you're going to have people to complain, but just laugh it off. I mean, it happens. This is where we live in a world where, and people people like to complain. You get more complaints than people that give you credit.
You do, and this is
and because I've been in business in catering, and if I have had a good meal or the right shade of tea cake, I will tell them that I've enjoyed it. It's been a lovely coffee. It's a great. I've had a lovely lunch. Thank you.
Definitely.
And talk to them where'd you get your coffee from? It's a great coffee. And it gives them a little bit of oomph.
It means a lot to people, doesn't it, to get that feedback? And that's the thing, because you're right, we don't get enough good feedback now. People are so quick to complain and to say what's wrong, where rather than actually just reaching out. I mean, the orders that I send out, probably 1% of people come back and go, oh, thank you, I loved that. If they didn't, they would complain. So obviously they are happy with it, but when you get that reassurance and you get that feedback, it keeps you going as well. So, that you're doing a good job.
I mean, the majority of people will be so happy with your product, but they might not have time to thank you. Yeah. You'll get 1, maybe 2. But if it's wrong or they don't like it, then they're straight there. I didn't like it. This is not good. But but just take it on the chin. It's a one-off. Forget about it and carry on.
Yeah.
You have to really think positive, because you know that you're going to be good.
Yeah.
You're going to be as good as the person next door or down the road, and even better if not. So yeah, that's how you cope with it, really.
It is, and being resilient. Like resilience is such a big thing, isn't it, in business?
It is.
As women as well, because I was saying about sometimes we can get treated a little differently. I was saying about when I had some complaints over Christmas last year. My husband dealt with them for me, and he got totally different responses to me when I was dealing with them. And it was a little bit like, why are people being rude to me and not to him? And last year I felt like quitting. I felt like giving up. You probably know how busy it was.
Well, I was here and you were really upset. And
yeah.
I said, listen, these are people that, they're going to complain.
Yeah.
Because it was at Christmas.
Post, wasn't it?
It was a post. People are stressed, very stressed. They want this to happen yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, when I had the shop as well, I worked right up to Christmas Eve, 4 o'clock, and then people were stressed. They've got things, but then it was a nice day because they could come and relax, and it was just, but like I was saying to the ladies who are listening, think about the tea cake story, and it'll make you laugh.
It will, yeah.
If you're having a bad day, just think the tea cake story. Just let it go.
You're going to get them.
It go.
You're right.
You're going to get them.
You're going to get them.
We're not all perfect.
No.
Nobody's perfect.
No.
We make mistakes, but that's just one. And I can also say it's the one time that sticks in our mind, Joanne.
It's
a tea cake story.
Like that.
And even John and I still talk about it and the way we dealt with it. And you know what? That guy still came in after that as well. It didn't put him off. He was having a bad day.
Didn't order a tea cake, did he?
No, he didn't order a tea cake.
Yeah, just a sandwich this
he
time.
Did, exactly. But, he was obviously having a bit of a bad day and decided to take it out on, on us. So.
With you as well, you worked really long hours, like, as you do when you have your own business, whether you've got a physical premises or not, you are always present because you have to be, don't you? And,
absolutely.
As I said in the intro, you were baking till midnight.
Yeah. Exactly.
You must have been exhausted, and you had two children. I know they weren't young at that time.
Well, they're 13 and 15,
yeah,
so they were
still at home.
They were still at home, and different sort of stresses with them. A 15-year-old girl, you can imagine, can't you?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jonathan was just Jonathan, because he's very sort of laid back. But you just take it in your stride. You just have to, you put them there in first as well, and think about what they need to do. And then once they were settled in bed, then I'd run downstairs, start baking. I'd be there till midnight, 1 o'clock baking, knowing that I had to get up at 6:30 to start the next day. But this is what you do. This is what you do if you want to start from scratch and you're new to the area. You want people to come in your shop, and you have to work hard.
You want to succeed.
It's hard. You want to succeed.
You're right.
I mean, you can't. It's just what we do. You want to succeed. And also, if you love doing what you're doing, you succeed. You've got to do something that you like doing.
You do, definitely. Otherwise,
because
you're not going to do it.
Because there's no point in cooking and baking if you don't like baking and cooking. It just defeats the object.
Absolutely.
Because you're not going to enjoy what you're doing.
Exactly.
You've got to like what you're doing.
You've got to live and breathe
have a
it,
passion.
haven't you?
Absolutely.
You've got to live and breathe it. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been in that kitchen till midnight.
No.
And I'm guessing, like, with the children as well, I don't say they weren't young, but did you ever feel like guilt? Like, I know I go through periods where I just have such terrible mum guilt, because even though mine's at nursery in the day, at night I'm still working a bit when it's bath time, my husband's doing it, or as soon as she's in bed I'm jumping on the computer, or I have to check my emails at weekends and I feel guilty. Like, how did you manage that?
Well, with my two, they were slightly older, so it was a little bit different. So they come down and do their own work in the coffee shop. So I'll be baking.
So you could see them then.
Absolutely. And we lived above, don't forget, as well. So I wasn't going out to work and coming back again.
Yeah.
So they knew that they could just come downstairs. And don't forget, I had lots of cakes and food, so they were quite happy. I mean, they were like my taste testers. And to be fair, Joanne was as well, to be honest. And I'd invent new cakes or new tray bakes, and the kids would say, I'd bribe them, come down guys, come and do your homework. I've baked a new cake, and they'd come down, and so they were there.
So flexible, that, isn't it? That they were there with you. How nice.
It was nice,
So you don't miss that time with them after school.
I mean, John would come down and say, how long are you going to be? that was his reaction to me, owning a great coffee. How long are you going to be? What time are you coming home? Because it was hilarious. Because this is another funny story. I need to tell you this,
yes, I love
you
stories.
ladies. So the coffee shop was, it's like 2 shops with 2 doors, and we lived above. It had a flight of steps, so you could just come up and down really quick. So it wasn't split. And it was so easy. I'd go upstairs, I always had tea with the children and John. This was what I always did every night anyway. So we'd always have tea together. and left them to it. And then I'd run downstairs and put a few cakes in. And I'd be there for till midnight, 1 o'clock, which was fine because I knew that the next day I was going to be busy. Anyway, this kept going on, and John was saying, wait, where are... And he'd hear me downstairs. He said, are you back downstairs? Yeah, I'm sorry, I have to go back downstairs again. Anyway, one particular day, I went to Asda to do some shopping, a few bits and bobs. And I came back, no stairs. No gap to go downstairs. He'd actually blocked the stairwell. He'd blocked it so I couldn't run downstairs.
No way.
Absolutely.
What, to stop you from working late?
So now I had to go round.
Oh.
So it was harder.
Yeah.
So it was more of an effort. So instead of staying there till 12 midnight, I'd only be there till 9 o'clock. It was a bit of an effort. It wasn't just quickly coming in.
That's tactical, that, isn't it?
He blocked the stairwell off, and so that I couldn't just run downstairs. Can you believe it?
Gosh. So did you still get everything done though?
Oh yeah, it didn't make any difference, to be fair.
But you then had an evening, I guess, as well. So you had
so
a bit
we'd be
more
upstairs
time.
at 10 rather than midnight. So yeah, so that's just one thing that I did when it was just because I lived and breathed it, to be fair.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, I lived and breathed it.
You have to, because if you don't,
but it's what I enjoyed doing.
Yeah,
it's just it was my baby, and I wanted it to work, and it did.
And do you miss it now? Is there any?
I knew you were going to ask me this question. I do miss it. I miss the company. I miss the customers. I miss that interaction with that one-to-one with people. Yeah. And knowing it was mine, this is what I missed as well. Because I knew it was mine. And I do miss it. I don't miss the paper side of things. The health and safety guy that comes every year, the tax and
all the red tape
and everything, especially with catering, because I'm sure there's some catering guys out there as well that are part of this, listening today. Just go with the flow, and that's the bad bit. It's the hard bit. It's the stressful bit. You've got health and safety coming. You've got food, health, hygiene people come in. And the red tape, the tax, and the paperwork. Although John did a lot of it anyway, he did most of my and the books, because I did my own books as well. John did a lot of the technical stuff, which was brilliant because he's worked in banking, so his mindset. My mindset is baking and talking, as you've already gathered. His mindset is the financial side. Yeah.
We just like to do the fun stuff, don't we?
Exactly. So as a team, we work really well as a team. So he did the boring stuff, and I did the fun stuff. So I do miss it. And that's why I'm still in catering now. So I'm still in hospitality. So I work for the National Trust, and I run their afternoon tea room, which is lovely. I don't have the red tape. I don't have the boring stuff. I just have the nice stuff to do now.
You dip in and out when you want, can't you?
Even though we live in France, they've kept me going, which is great. So, and I'm still dipping in, dipping out, which is perfect.
That's perfect. And why did you decide to close it then? What was it? Just it was done its time for you?
I think it was. I'd done it for 10 years, but if you remember, Joanne, I'd broken my leg and my hip.
Yes, I do.
So this is another story. Honestly, my life's just,
This is why we're friends.
Oh, absolutely.
We have equal amount of medical dramas.
Nothing straight plain sailing with me and Joanne. There's always... So I broke my hip and my leg. Cracked my hip in 3 places and broke my femur. Just on a walk. We'd just gone for a walk. My partner and I, John, and our son Jonathan, and friends, on our way to the pub, to be fair, on a Sunday. This is what we did. We did that. On a Sunday, I would do something completely different. No baking, no nothing. Walking, visiting family. We got for a walk and I just slipped. And it was just a slight slip. And I knew I'd done something wrong because I couldn't stand up. Yeah. Everything was like turned to jelly. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I'd broken my hip and my leg. And I realised then maybe I need to step back a bit. I wasn't looking after myself because I was working all the time. And so I just carried on in the shop, even though with a broken hip. John brought me down in the wheelchair. He did the cooking for a couple of Saturdays. Yep. Because I said to them all, I've broken my leg, but there's nothing wrong with my mouth, and I can still direct you in the right direction. So
I will still boss you about.
Carry me downstairs, and the girls were great. They just cook, and I just tell them what to do. I'd look at and I tell them what to put on, what and everybody we just rallied round. So I literally just closed for one Saturday. This is how determined and grateful I am. I mean, anybody else would have had a chef in. Yeah. But then I thought, hang on a minute, that's my profits going down the pan. Yeah. I thought, no, this cannot happen. And John said, don't be silly, Maria, we need to get a chef in. I said, no, John, because I've not worked all these years for somebody else to come in. And I knew he wouldn't be as good as me. Hey, So I thought,
exactly. You don't want your reputation to go down the pan.
Absolutely not. So I had to keep on going. So I was sitting in the kitchen with a broken leg, but the staff, the customer loved it.
Yeah.
Crikey, she's there with a broken hip and she's cooking. Great. So you can do it sitting. It's amazing what you can do sitting down in a wheelchair. It's amazing.
This is the true determination of women, though.
I was determined this was not going to go down the pan.
You worked so hard.
Yeah, exactly.
You really did.
So, yeah, so going back to what you were asking me, Joanne, about selling. So I was talking to one of the mums that came in, and she was part of the tennis. She played tennis in the local village. And she was just chatting away, and I said, yeah, I broke my hip. I said, I'm thinking of selling because I need to do, step back a little bit, And she said, oh, my sons are looking at a coffee, looking for a coffee in Delhi. Local family. She'd been coming in for years and years. So she was a customer of mine. Her son came round, had a look at it, and took the cafe on. But so they run it now as a...
Still got it now,
They've still got it now. So it was just fluke, really. Yeah. I thought, this is a great opportunity. I'm thinking of selling. Her sons are looking for a Delhi cafe. Perfect timing. So
amazing.
That's why we sold the business. I own the property still, but we sold the business. So.
And then they now have it's a deli, isn't it? And
a successful deli as well.
Because I remember when they took over, I was still living there because I remember the boys knocking on the door.
Right, that's right.
All young and enthusiastic.
Yeah. It's a great deli, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's lovely.
Exactly. They love, exactly.
Everybody still loves it. And I think, the fact that you built it up in the way that you did, and they probably took on a lot of your customers as well. Because,
they did.
You had an established customer base. And it just shows how important it is, for all women out there just to realise that no matter what you're going through and no matter what challenges you may face, you can do it, and you did it. And you did it so good. I
say, it's not plain sailing, having been really ill, broken hip, the teacake story. It's,
all the adversity.
We get through it. And this is what I'm saying, you can get through this.
Yeah.
It's all grit and determination. And, we all have bad days. We all have bad weeks, but forget about them.
Yeah.
They're just one-offs, and I always think it's a bit of a blip.
It is. I love that. Yeah,
it's
a
blip.
Bit of a blip.
I mean, we all have blips.
This is our thing. Whenever things happen in our lives, we always say it's just a blip. We can do this.
And we just put the kettle on.
Yeah.
And talk about it as well.
Yeah.
If you can talk about it. This is why this new thing that Joan's doing is great. Just the hustle.
Yeah.
Handmade hustle. It's great.
For all the women out there.
Exactly. Just talk. If you have a problem, just get on there, and it's other people can give you advice as well.
They can.
There's other people there that are exactly in the same position as you.
Definitely.
You're not the only one.
Yes.
You're not the only one who's doing whatever you're doing or having a blip or
because it is a lonely point. Being self-employed, it's lonely,
very lonely.
And obviously, with the coffee shop, you had some interaction, but ultimately, you're still the one that everything falls on.
I was the only one at midnight baking down there. I wanted to go upstairs and get into bed or watch the telly or read a book, but I knew this is what I'm doing and this is what I enjoy doing. But it is lonely. It's a lonely environment. I mean, as well, Joe, because you've done your own thing as well, and
this is why I'm doing this now.
Exactly.
I
just talk.
Love it.
Exactly.
You never get this. You get creative block, you get writer's block, but you never get talker's block,
no,
do you? You can always talk and you can always speak, and I think it's really important.
At my daughter's mum said, "Mum, honestly, you talk to her," but I do. I like because I'm used to that customer facing.
Exactly.
Even what I'm doing now with the National Trust, we get so many people coming in. I mean, yesterday was just so busy with the afternoon teas, Christmas afternoon teas. I mean, I lost my voice by the evening. I couldn't speak because I've got a bit of a sore throat as well. But by the end of the day, I couldn't speak. And I'd go to the supermarket with Sam and I'd chat. And Sam would say, "Who's that lady?" I'd say, "I ain't got a clue. I've just met her. I've just been chatting to her."
Oh, yeah,
because if you're interfacing, but even if you're not interfacing with your business, just talk to people and, just chat online or to Joanne.
Seek support, isn't it? And don't feel alone.
Don't feel lonely. Don't feel lonely at all because you're not the only one. There are, there are other people out there that can help you. You don't have to be sitting thinking, "Oh, this is not going to work," or "I can't do this anymore." You can. You can and you
will. This is exactly what I'm really pushing with a lot of these chats, because the reason why people listen to this is they may be feeling insecure or they may be feeling nervous, and it's talking to people who've done it and who've made a success out of it despite everything else that they've been through. We all have our challenges, so it's showing that you can do it, and I'm so grateful that you've been able to tell everybody about your experience and what,
But I've been following a lot of you ladies on this.
You have, you're part of the group as
I
well,
am. I mean, even though I'm not in business myself anymore, it's just lovely to read what you do and what your ups and downs are, and I can relate to a lot of them as well.
Exactly.
Even though you're not all in the same area, the problems and pitfalls are generally the same.
Yeah, we were talking before.
It's that fear, that up and down, the loneliness. We're all from, because I was saying to you, it's like a tree, isn't it,
tree,
Joanne?
Yeah.
We're all
Tell us about the tree quickly before we finish.
So before we finish, I was telling Joanne, if you picture all of you as a tree, and we're all in the trunk of the tree. We all start the same. We all start exactly the same from scratch, and then we all branch out. So each branch is you or the person that are down the road, but we all have different needs and we all have different goals and different customer bases as well. But if you look at it as a tree, we're all the same. We all start the same, and we all branch out in different directions.
We've all got the same skills in that trunk, haven't we?
But ultimately, we're exactly the same. We all start exactly the same, Joanne.
Yeah.
We've all got the determination, the grit, and the drive, and then we all branch out.
Yeah.
And just keep going,
keep going, exactly.
and keep smiling,
and
listen to music as well. Because that's such a great.
What's your inspirational song?
Oh, I Will Survive. I just listen to. I listen to all sorts of stuff.
You're right.
Blues and heavy stuff, and I love classical. I love jazz. Just any. I love chill.
It's a form of self-care, isn't it? Though,
just listen to music if you can during the day.
I listen to
sing along while you're working.
Yeah, well,
it's all mindset.
I listened to a podcast and they said about how you have a list of songs that really inspire you. And I've got mine on the go. I think I've only got about 3 on it so far because I don't have time to look them up. But I've got 3 that I always listen to and feeling like I'm going to start this day right, and it does help.
It does help.
It really pushes me along.
Music and coffee. It's
great. It's the best,
exactly.
Isn't it? Absolutely.
And friends like Joanne and other friends as well. So
I'm so grateful that you've been able to talk to us today.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here,
It's been amazing.
And
it's my first interview.
Yeah, exactly. And just to all the women out there, just go for it, guys. It's you're not going to regret it. You will not regret it. It'll be amazing, and you're all amazing because you just need to do something for yourselves.
Yes,
and
it's time for them. It's time for us, isn't it?
Yeah, and make time for yourself, like you've just said.
Yeah, and now is the time. Because we don't know what's around the corner, and I think it's really important that if you want to do something, you just implement it. Whether it's done right or not, just do it, and you figure it out along the way, don't you? Because you can't know it until you're doing it.
And just think about the teacake story; it'll make you laugh every time.
It will. Oh, thank you so much.
You are very welcome. Thank you for inviting me, Joanne.
You're very
welcome.
It's been a pleasure. Oh, thank you.
Thanks again.
Okay, bye for now. Oh, I hope you really enjoyed that. Absolutely fantastic interview, Maria. She's such an inspiration, and I hope that you got the same feelings that I get when I spend time with her. She's so motivated, so determined, and just giving you a real push. Hopefully at the beginning of next year you can start off as you mean to go on, and I'm here, so you can contact me anytime. I will happily give you that push. I like to make people do things. That's just what I do. I like to motivate them and inspire them, as Maria did there for everybody. So yeah, if you want any more support whatsoever, there's a few things you can do. You can join my Facebook group, which is completely free. If you just go on Facebook and search Her Handmade Hustle on Facebook groups, that should come up. I think I've also put a link to it in my bio on this podcast as well, so you can click on that. If you can subscribe and follow this podcast, that would be amazing. I will love you forever, because my aim is to get in the Spotify charts. I know it's a big aim. I don't know if I can do it, but there's a section on there called Recent and Decent, and I really want to get on the Recent and Decent charts. So if you can subscribe and like it and follow it and provide any feedback, there's a link on there. Just click follow, and it all counts towards my priority on the Spotify charts. If you can do that, that would be amazing. And visit the website herhandmadehustle.co.uk. There's loads of more resources on there, and you can also book in for a free chat with me for half an hour if there's anything that you want to talk about. There's no obligation whatsoever to buy any services. It's literally just there for you to talk to, and then if you did want to work together with me, amazing, we can always do that in the new year. I'm here. So yeah, that's all we've got for today. And again, massive thank you to Maria. I wish you a wonderful day, whatever you're doing, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks for listening.